Hi everybody, it's Susan from Sunrise Quilt Studio, and today I am making a table topper using some bow tie blocks that I have stashed away. There is a video on how to make this particular block without having to use set-in seams or Y seams, so I'll try to remember put a link for you or a card up here in that upper right hand corner so that you can watch that video if you want. Now I decided I needed to make a table topper for my coffee table, and these are 6-inch blocks, and so the table topper is going to be, the blocks are going to be set 2 by 4. So that will give me a 12 by 24 inch table runner, and that may seem kind of small, but my coffee table is small, so that'll just be a nice little bit of color to add to the room, and I think it'll look nice. So I'm just pinning all my blocks together here after I've decided on the layout. Now there are different ways you can lay out bow tie blocks, and so if you decide to do a project with bow tie blocks, just play around with them and find a setting that looks pleasing to you and go for it. Now these are going to be set in an alternate pattern, so they're going to form a hexagon in between them, so it'll be a nice little look. It'll look kind of like X's and O's, so I think you'll see that at the end when I show the completed table runner. Now this project is using Aurifil thread. It's a 50 weight thread, and I am using a 2.0 stitch length, and I'm using a 1/4 inch presser foot. So this is just piecing blocks together. So there's nothing unusual about it other than matching up the seams. Now I was in a hurry with this project, and I didn't take as much care as I would have with any other project. It's just something that I needed to get done pretty quickly, so I kind of sped through it and let a few things slide that I normally wouldn't have. So you will see the effects of that in the finished picture, in the finished project. The picture of the finished project is what I'm trying to say. So I'm just going to just continue to put these blocks together in a 2 by 4 layout, and each are a different color. Of course, you can always make yours all one color, use completely different types of fabrics, do whatever you want. Use your imagination and make a project that suits you and your home. So I'm just going to keep on sewing here. Now I'm sewing the rows together. So I sewed 2 rows of blocks, and now I'm sewing the 2 rows together. So I've pinned all of the seams together and just using the 1/4 inch seam allowance and getting this topper put together. So this is really a pretty quick project at this point. It takes more time to do the quilting and the binding than it does to sew the top together if you already have your blocks made. So that might be something you want to think about if you're wanting something like a table topper or a table runner, or even a pillow sham or a pillow cover, is to see what kind of blocks that you have laying around that you might want to use. And then here I'm going to show you the finished topper. So you can see I've got them in alternate positions there, so they kind of form a circle in the center. So you could put some fancy quilting in there if you want, or just do what I do, and I'll show you the quilting on this here in just a minute. So I'm just going to press the seam here and then press the top open, and then move on to the quilting part of the project. Now I'm getting into the quilting part. So I still have my straight foot on. It's not the 1/4 inch foot, but it is an embroidery foot, so that it's a clear foot so I can see through it. So I don't I'm not using my walking foot for this project. I found with the quilting that I have been doing with these small projects that the walking foot really doesn't help much, and it's harder to judge the distance from, like if I'm wanting to stitch a 1/4 inch away from a seam line, it's a little bit harder to judge because there's no landmarks that I can follow on that foot. So, and that might just be my particular hopping foot, my particular walking foot. So it may not be an issue for you. So I'm using a clear foot so that I can see better. And I am stitching about a 1/4 inch away from the seam line where those 4 blocks come together and form that, I think it's an octagon shape in the center there. And then I do a lot of other straight line quilting in here. I haven't done any freehand in this at all. There's no free motion anyway, quilting in this one. It's all just straight stitching. So you notice here I stopped and I kind of looked over things. I just wanted to see how it was looking and decide where I needed to go next. So there is some stopping and starting in this project, and I don't mind doing that. I know some people absolutely hate having to stop and start, and so they find a design that they can use where they don't have to. So you just have to do whatever works best for you. Now I am using that polyester batting, and I've been having trouble with using poly batting when I'm quilting on my domestic machine because the fabric doesn't cling to it like it would to a cotton batting or an 80/20. So things tend to shift a little bit. So I was having some problems with the fabric shifting and it puckering, and I had to stop every once in a while and release some stitches and redo it. So I was making a lot more work for myself because of that batting. Now, if I had spray basted it down with a fabric glue, that might have helped, or used a fusible batting, that could have helped too. But I also think it would have been easier just to use a cotton batting. But I had this large piece of this poly batting, and I wanted to use it up so that I didn't have to pack it away and move with it. So that's why I'm going through the pain and suffering of using this batting in these little projects. And I do have several of them that I'm making just to kind of decorate the house a little bit to put it on the market. So that's kind of my story with this batting. Otherwise, it's a nice batting. It's a good thickness. It's not too thick. It's not too thin, and it's sturdy and durable. But I just have issues with it when I am quilting on a domestic machine. So that's how it goes for me. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward a little bit and maybe put some music on, and you can watch the rest of the quilting. But there's nothing elaborate about it, and not like when I work on my long arm anyway. It's just all straight line quilting. So I'm going to turn on some music, and I hope you enjoy the next segment.
Now I'm ready to put the binding on the topper, the table topper, and need to go back to my 1/4 inch foot. And wanted to show you how this is turning out so far. I wasn't real happy with the way it was turning out with the quilting, and I was getting some puckers and shifting. Probably because it wasn't basted, and maybe it was the batting, because this is a polyester batting, and polyester batting, you know, your fabric doesn't cling to polyester batting, so things like to shift. So what I did was I pressed it really well from the top, and then I pressed it on the back. So it's laying flatter now, and I'm happier with it. I was ready to just scrap the whole thing because it just was not looking the way I wanted it to. But I really don't have time to do this over, so I'm going to go ahead and put on the binding, and then sew that in place. And I'm trying to judge here as to, I'm trying to avoid getting seams in the corners. So I'm trying to see where those seams are going to lie. So I'm kind of doing a little test here. Just going around and laying out the binding as I would. As I'm sewing it, and I think that's good. I think that'll save me from hitting a seam in the corner. So I'm going to go ahead and sew this on, and then I'm going to press it over, press it out. watching. For more quilting ideas, click on the video links. And to keep up with my latest projects, click on the subscribe button. I hope to see you again soon.